There is one painting by a Japanese artist that has had a great influence on artists around the world. I'll show you some examples. In the first two paintings, notice how the background lines are drawn. The Starry Night by Dutch painter Van Gogh. The Screen by Norwegian painter Munch. The Wave by French painter Gustave Courbet. He painted a series of paintings of waves. Pay attention to the design drawn around the edge of the plate. It was produced by French Art Nouveau craftsman Émile Gallé. Wave, created by Camille Claude, a female French sculptor who was a disciple of Auguste Rodin. In music, the symphony, The Sea, composed by the French musician Debussy. His room is decorated with a painting that inspired him. This is a picture called The Great Wave. It has had the greatest influence on the creation of the works I have presented so far. This is an Ukiyo-e woodblock print painted by葛飾Hokusai. In 1999, the American magazine Life selected and announced the 100 most important people of the last 1,000 years. The only Japanese on the list was葛飾Hokusai. He was ranked 86th. The Great Wave is one of the most famous of 36 views of Mount Fuji painted by Hokusai. As a special exhibition on Hokusai held at the British Museum in London in 2017, the Great Wave was described as a world-class masterpiece along with the Mona Lisa. In this video, you learn about the life of Hokusai, his works, and more. Hokusai was born in 1760 in what is now Sumida Ward, Tokyo, and lived in the same area for most of his life, even though he moved 93 times. The Sumida River flows along the area, and the Hokusai Museum is now located in a spot thought to be the birth of Hokusai. At the age of 4, Hokusai was adopted by a family of mirror craftsmen who made mirrors for the shogunate government. Hokusai began painting around the age of 6, and it is said that he learned the painting techniques from his father, who painted decorative pictures on mirrors. At the age of 12, he began to work for a rental bookstore. At this time, he became interested in book illustrations. At the age of 14, he became an apprentice to a Ukiyo-e engraver. Soon, he began to earn a living as an engraving craftsman, but his interest in painting was stronger. These are the paintings of the master from whom Hokusai first learned Ukiyo-e at the age of 18. His master was a very popular Ukiyo-e artist at that time, and Hokusai joined his workshop. 1 year later, he got his first art name from his master and started his career as an Ukiyo-e artist with several paintings of kabuki actors. Besides Ukiyo-e, he learned other Japanese, Western, and Chinese paintings in secret from his master. Because he was full of curiosity and had a strong mind to improve himself, he belonged to the same workshop for 15 years. After his master passed away, he was expelled from the workshop because of the feud with his senior. Hokusai changed his art name. During his lifetime, he used at least 30 different art names. His frequent name changes may be related to changes in mood or painting styles, or to divide his own life into different periods. In his late 30s, after leaving another painting school to which he belonged, he began to pursue his own original and unique style of painting, looking to heaven, the universe, and nature as his masters. The name葛飾Hokusai, which is used as his common name, is one of his art names he used for only about 5 years in his 40s.葛飾was the name of the area where he lived, and Hokusai is associated with the Big Dipper, which is a symbol of his religion. Hokusai drew a great number of sketches in his 50s. They are sketches of all things in the world, and are mainly depictions of human figures, natural scenery, birds, animals, insects, fish, and ghosts. They are initially drawn as painting models for his many disciples, but are published as a series of books under the title Hokusai Manga in Japanese, called Hokusai Sketches Overseas. The number of sketches in Hokusai mangas amounted to 4,000. All the books were great hits. His books were also called picture handbooks or illustrated encyclopedia. In this way, the name of Hokusai became widely known, and even after changing his art names, the name Hokusai was attached to his new name. Hokusai gave several performances of drawing Dharma painting on giant paper in the precincts of the local temple, and each performance was a great success. The same performance was held once in Nagoya. It was organized by the publisher of Hokusai manga for publicity. Hokusai completed painting in half a day with the assistance of his disciples. The scene was drawn by a painter who was watching the performance. His art name he began to use at the age of 60 consisted of 2 kanji characters, meaning starting from scratch. He was always looking for new ways to paint, believing that the older he got, the greater he would become as a true artist. Around the age of 69, he contracted paralysis, but was cured with homemade medicine. In his early 70s, Hokusai painted 36 views of Mount Fuji, including the Great Wave and Red Fuji. Hokusai established landscape painting as an independent genre in Ukiyo-e prints. He continued to paint flowers and birds, ghosts, and waterfalls across the country in a series. Hokusai also painted 102 different views of Mount Fuji and its customs. They are released in 3 volumes, and the title 100 Views of Mount Fuji from his mid-70s and his 80s. Around the age of 80, Hokusai began to paint exclusively in his own hand. In particular, he concentrated on religious paintings based on classical Japanese and Chinese literatures and natural scenes, and stopped painting ukiyo-e genre scenes, which is a main specialty of ukiyo-e artists. At the same time, there was also a change in style. He used a variety of techniques more than ever before, showing more gorgeous and dense color tones or dark and profound composition. Hokusai lived with his daughter for the last 20 years of his life. Fortunately for Hokusai, his daughter was a very talented painter, and he admitted that she was better at painting beautiful women than he was. It is said that the reason few of her works remain is probably because she helped Hokusai paint. Hokusai got married twice, but both of his wives died of illness. His daughter was a child of his second wife. She divorced and came back his home. A disciple of Hokusai drew a picture of what Hokusai's life was like in those days. A replica made based on his painting is on display at the Hokusai Museum. Hokusai never drank or smoked, but his daughter enjoyed both. They always ate meals from the shops, and neither of them cleaned up the rooms. Every time when their house became full of garbage, they moved out. In his 80s, he visited Obuse in Nagano Prefecture 4 times with his daughter. There was a mansion of a wealthy merchant who was a disciple of Hokusai, and under his patronage, Hokusai painted a number of masterpieces while staying there for extended periods of time. The 93rd house he moved to was a rental house in the precincts of a temple in Asakusa, which was his last residence. In spring, 1 year after moving there, Hokusai became bedridden due to illness. 3 months later, Hokusai stammered out as he passed away, with his disciples and daughter watching over. If only God in heaven would let me live 10 more years, or even 5 more years, I could be a true painter. He had prepared his farewell haiku. Being a soul of the dead, flying over the summer fields, freely to my heart content. Another temple in Asakusa has a statue and the grave of Hokusai. Asakusa is located across the Sumida River from the area where he was born and lived for many years. In 1868, 20 years after Hokusai's death, samurai politics under the Tokugawa shogunate government came to an end. A new government was established with the emperor as the head. The new government focused on trade with Europe and the United States, and many Japanese things were exported. One of them was ceramics, and Ukiyo-e painting papers were used as cushioning materials to wrap the ceramics. A Parisian artist who happened to find one Hokusai manga used as the cushioning material was amazed by its excellence and showed it to his artist friends. Japanese art and craft objects displayed at the world expositions held in Paris in the late 19th century also attracted attention, and an art movement called Japonism was born. With the growing popularity of Ukiyo-e, especially in Paris, Impressionist painters who were searching for a new style of painting began to draw works inspired by Ukiyo-e. As for Hokusai's paintings, their themes, compositions, drawing styles, and so on have also influenced many foreign artists. Compare their works with Hokusai's. On the right is Hokusai's work. American female painter Mary Cassett. French painter Edgar Degas. French artist and designer Émile Gallé. French painter Edouard Manet. French painter and ukiyo-e artist Henri Rivière. He created 36 views of the Eiffel Tower in the ukiyo-e technique, inspired by the 36 views of Mount Fuji. French painter Paul Cézanne painted his home mountain in a series. French painter Claude Monet. Compare both of their paintings. American architect and designer Frank Lloyd Wright. He designed the private residence called Falling Water. When he was thinking about designing a residence that could coexist with nature, he was inspired by Hokusai's waterfall painting. Hokusai's reputation has grown in Japan as well, and his 36 views of Mount Fuji are currently designed in the passport visa sections. Starting in 2024, one of the Japan's banknotes will have the Great Wave design on the backside. Finally, I'd like to introduce one episode about Hokusai in his 80s. When one of his disciples complained that his painting was not improving, Hokusai's daughter said in a smile, "Look at my father. He is over 80 years old and still paints every day." But the other day, he was in tears saying, "I cannot even draw a cat well." When you are depressed realizing you are not good, that is when you can improve. Hokusai, who was listening to the conversation, said, "Yes, that's really true." This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.